Last time we worked on comparing two fractions that had common denominators. This time we are going to be working with two fractions that have uncommon denominators. Uncommon denominators is a fancy way for saying that their denominators are different, such as with 2/3 and 3/4. If we wanted to compare these two fractions together, we would need to come up with a common denominator between the two of them that we can change these into equivalent fractions. The best way that I like to do this is by thinking of my multiples of 3 and my multiples of 4. And sometimes I even like to make a little list. So we got 3 here, we got 4 there, and then I'll list out some of my multiples if I don't know it off the top of my head. So we've got 3, we've got 6, 9, 12, 15. I'll list out a couple, and then I'll do some for the other denominator as well. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and I'll look for any multiples that they both share. Well, if we look at it, they both have the number 12. So we can convert 2/3 and 3/4 into two fractions that have 12 as a denominator. So I've created two fractions here that have 12 as their denominator, and now we need to figure out what can we multiply 2/3 and 3/4 by to create fractions that have 12 as their denominator. Well, if we think of our multiples, 3 times 4 gets us to be 12. And if we think back to our equivalent fractions, whatever we multiply our denominator by, we have to multiply our numerator by as well. So 2 times 4 will get us our new numerator, and that's going to be 8. If we do the same thing over here, 4 times 3 gets us 12. So we multiply 3 by 3 as well. 3 times 3 will get us our new numerator, and it is 9. Now, we have a common denominator. They both have 12. So all we got to do is decide which one's bigger, 8/12 or 9/12. 9 is bigger than 8, so we use our less than symbol because 8/12 is less than 9/12. Let's try a different one now. Let's say we have 4/9 and 2/3. Well, they don't have a common denominator again, and while some people might think, oh, all we have to do is multiply 3 times 9, it'll work, but it won't get you the smallest common denominator, and that's what we want to work with, the smallest number that they both share. And actually, because of the numbers I chose, we can keep 4/9 because 9 is a multiple of 3. So we just have to change 2/3 into something that has 9 as the denominator. 3 times what is 9? Pause the video, think it through. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. So we just multiply the numerator by the same number. 2 times 3 gets us our numerator, which is 6. So which one's bigger, 4/9 or 6/9? Well, 6 is bigger than 4. So we can use the less than symbol because 4/9 is less than 6/9. This time, why don't you try this one on your own? Start off by looking at your denominators between 4/6 and 3/4 and come up with a common denominator between 6 and 4. Try to find the smallest one you can. Pause your video now. Now, some of us might have said, oh, their common denominator is going to be 24. And you're right, 24 would work, but it is not going to be the smallest possible denominator. That smallest possible denominator is 12. Pause your video again and see if you can figure out what your numerators are going to be this time. Well, 6 times 2 gets us 12. So 4 being multiplied by 2 gives us our new numerator, which is 8. Over here, 4 times 3 gets us 12. So we got to multiply 3 times 3, which gets us 9. Now, pause it one more time as you draw your symbol to decide which is bigger, 8/12 or 9/12. 9 is bigger than 8. They have a common denominator, so 9/12 is bigger than 8/12, and we write the less than symbol because 8/12 is less than 9/12.